Thanks for joining me today. I'm glad you're here. My name is Jerrel. I develop games for a living. Today I want to answer a question that people have been asking me over the years. I get a lot of questions, a lot of requests, and I'm glad to hear from all of you. Now, a lot of people think that you have to leave a comment or send me a DM if you'd like to ask a question, but that's actually not necessary. If you would like to ask me a question, you can go ahead and just ask the question to your mom. I'm going to see her Friday night, and she'll let me know. And I'm letting you know right off the bat, she's probably not going to be home until Saturday afternoon. So today I want to answer the question of, if you don't finish the game that you're developing, are you a failure? Or what happens if you don't finish your game? I recently had someone ask yesterday from Tano I wanted to ask, do you finish all your games as a game dev? And this is something very important to consider that I've not seen people offer insight into. So as a developer who's solo developed and shipped more than a dozen titles across commercial platforms, I'm hoping that I can help you understand what is so important about this question is what happens if you don't finish your game? Are you a failure? And the quick answer is no, you're not a failure if you do not finish your game. What is most important is not the end product, it is your ability. And it takes time to develop your ability. Now, there are two major steps that we're going to discuss here today. The first is conceptualization. That is your ability to conceive of something, to imagine something. So your ability to conceptualize, you're coming up with a new concept, right? Or you're combining concepts, or you're taking a familiar concept and you're applying it in new ways, which is novel application, which is something we can discuss another day. And so with your ability to conceptualize, that is not just something you have. Some people have a natural talent for conceptualization. It requires a significant amount of imagination, but it is an active skill and you need to develop that skill the same way that you don't just have big biceps, right? You have to go to the gym, you have to work out the same way that you can't just run, a 6-minute mile. You have to train for that. And so when it comes to your ability to conceptualize, you actively have to develop that skill. You have to train that. So conceptualizing a project is extremely important. Even if you are already actively working on a project, if you take a break, just catch your breath and take a break from that project, continue coming up with new concepts and writing out your documentation and then filling out the details of that concept. I have more than 150 projects over the years that I've started conceptualizing. And it's important that you develop your ability to flesh out that idea, to make sure you get as much detail in there as possible so that you can draw the entire scope, the entire picture of your end product without actually making the product. But that allows you to come up with new and interesting ideas that strengthens your ability to come up with concepts and to apply them in interesting ways that make for an interesting game experience. If you just think of one concept and you think, okay, this is the one game I will make, there's an extremely low chance that you will actually be able to develop that product. So early on in your game development career, your ability to conceptualize is going to be quite weak. And that's because you have an underdeveloped ability to conceptualize. It is constantly thinking of new ideas, writing it all out, filling out the documentation for it. That is what allows you to develop your ability to conceptualize. Next, the ability we're going to discuss is transcription. And transcription is your ability to take an idea from your mind and to turn it into a functional product. This is something that just takes time to develop. And again, some people are born with natural talent that allows them to develop this skill faster. But regardless of your lack of talent, you can still develop skill through hard work, through dedication, through effort, and doing the work. So things like Unity and Unreal, GDevelop, Godot, those allow us to transcript. They take our ideas and we turn them into a functional product. That is a topic that needs to be discussed at length because it is quite complex, and it's a concept that we need to define more so that people can understand what is actually going on in terms of coming up with a game concept and then turning it into a functional product. So I have more than 150 projects that I've started over the years and never finished. And the reason why that does not make someone a failure is because working on those projects, the important part is not finishing the product. The important part is learning from that experience. So you start a project, you work on it, and it's very unlikely that you will finish a product, especially if you are working solo. If you're working with a team, it's even more unlikely because people will drop off. If this is not their full-time job, if you are just hobbyists working on this together, it's extremely unlikely. And the more team members that you have to rely on, the higher your failure rate, because people will drop off. If you are working solo, that means that the only person you have to worry about is yourself, and you actually have a higher chance of completing a project because the only person that can lose interest and drop off is you. And if you are dedicated, if you are tough enough, if you are resilient, and you can put up with hard work, then you will finish your product. But keep in mind, even if you do not finish your product, the most important thing is that you learn from it. You develop an understanding. Maybe you learn how to make a menu that you can navigate with a cursor. Maybe you learn how to display damage on the screen when your character hits an enemy. Maybe you learn how to make a character have equipment. Those are concepts that stick with you. It is your understanding, your comprehension, and your ability that is most important. So let's say you have 20 failed projects, but as long as you learn something from each of those projects, it is not a failure, it is a success. And that way, when you get to your 21st project, you now have the skills necessary to actually make a project to completion, to actually complete it. So I hope that makes sense to you, is that you're never going to just jump into a game and then make it. If it is something you care about and you've been thinking about ideas and saying, oh, I want the character to have skills that they can level up. I want the character to be able to learn new abilities and to customize equipment. And you can do this and you can do that and you can combine equipment together. On your first go, you will not be able to do that because you don't know how to do it. You have to learn how to do it. And so what is important to strive for is to work on small projects. Small projects are highly manageable. They're much more achievable. You should focus on creating small projects to where you can learn the skills that you need. So that way, when you do work on your bigger projects, you will have the abilities necessary. You will have the ability to conceptualize and to transcript. So there's my answer. If you don't finish your project, are you a failure? No, you are not. You are a failure if you fail to learn anything from working on that project. So make sure you focus on developing your abilities and your skill, increase your understanding of your craft, whether that is composing music, developing games, creating 3D models, 2D pixel art, whatever it may be, strive for excellence. Thanks very much for spending some time with me today. I hope you've enjoyed our little discussion. Take care of yourselves. Be well.